You think you're smart. You think you understand people. But what if I told you, everyone around you is playing a game, and you're the only one still reading the rules like a child's bedtime story? Welcome to a world where kindness is weakness, truth is a weapon, and the strongest survive not by being right, but by being ruthless. This isn't about morality, it's about power. And if you want to win, you need to learn the 15 laws to outsmart everyone by Machiavelli. You want to outsmart everyone. Then understand this: firsting the world is not fair. It never was, and it never will be. Most people waste their lives trying to be liked. They trade influence for approval, power for peace, and clarity for comfort. They think being nice is a strategy. It's not. It's a liability. The ones who rise, the ones who dominate, who command respect and loyalty, they play a different game. Let me show you how the world really works. Look at Napoleon, a man barely 5'6", who ruled an empire with sheer will and strategy. He didn't beg to be understood. He didn't wait for consensus. He calculated. He knew people weren't driven by truth. They're driven by fear, desire, and perception. He mastered all three. That's law 1. Perception is stronger than reality. If they think you're powerful, you are. If they believe you're weak, you are. Your image is your weapon. Most people give others too much credit. They assume people are logical, that they'll act rationally. No. People are animals. Complicated, yes, but predictable. Carl Jung knew this. He said the unconscious rules most of human behavior. And if you can understand someone's shadow, the parts they repress, you can control them. Let me ask you, have you ever seen a leader crumble from scandal? It wasn't the crime, it was the exposure. People don't hate corruption. They hate seeing it. That's law 2, always conceal your true motives. Honesty is for journals, not power. The more they know, the more they can use against you. Keep them guessing. Look at Caesar. He walked into Rome, not with tanks, but with charisma. He knew people followed symbols, not systems. He dressed like a god, spoke like a poet, and punished like a tyrant. Law 3, command presence before power. Influence is won in the theater of the mind. You don't need to be in charge to be in control. But here's what they won't teach you in school. Kindness is easily mistaken for weakness. Play too fair and you'll attract predators. You must learn how to wield cruelty, not avoid it. Nietzsche said it best: the good are the ones who've been tamed. Law 4, be kind, but capable of terror, like the lion who loungers calmly until it strikes. Mercy without muscle is meaningless. Still don't believe me? Watch any corporate office. The ones who rise aren't the most skilled. They're the ones who understand leverage. The boss doesn't promote the hardest worker. He promotes the person who makes him feel secure, powerful, irreplaceable. Law 5. Learn the art of strategic flattery. Not to worship, but to disarm. Feed their ego while sharpening your knife. It's not betrayal if it's business. And stop oversharing. Your emotions are not assets. They're vulnerabilities. Cry in silence, suffer in the shadows. Law 6. Control your face. A stoic man is a dangerous man. Miyamoto Musashi, the samurai without a master, never revealed emotion before battle. Why? Because emotions betray intent. If they can read you, they can beat you. The people around you are playing their own games. Even your friends, especially your friends. The ones who laugh with you today will envy you tomorrow. Law 7. Never outshine the insecure. If they feel threatened, they will destroy you with a smile. Make them feel safe even when you plan their replacement. Remember this: most people are trapped in survival mode. Their ambitions are small. Their moves are emotional. Use that. Law 8. Predict behavior by provoking it. Stir their ego. Touch their pride. And watch how they move. Real power isn't loud. It listens. And if you want to win long term, never be the one who needs the most. Dependence is death. Build options, backup plans, escape routes. Kissinger understood this. He never put all his bets on one nation, one plan, one promise. Law 9, make yourself a luxury, not a necessity. If they can't replace you, they must respect you. But let me warn you, this game isn't for the faint of heart. The moment you start playing to win, you lose the comfort of innocence. You'll be judged, hated, misunderstood. That's fine. Let the sheep hate the wolf still eats. Law 10, develop a reputation for unpredictability. If they can't guess your next move, they can't control you. Predictability is death. The moment they think they know you, you become ordinary. Surprise keeps you powerful. Now, maybe you're wondering, doesn't this all sound cold, manipulative, even cruel? Yes, it is, but that's only because you've been trained to be naive. You've been raised in a moral illusion. That being good means being safe. That being liked is the same as being respected. That's the lie. The truth is, power is neutral. It's neither good nor evil. It's a tool, like a blade. And like any blade, it cuts based on who wields it. You can build with it, or destroy. But first, you must earn it. And that means playing a game most will never even see. So here's what you need to remember: people don't follow truth. They follow strength. They don't care who's right. They care who's confident. If you want to rise, you must master perception, conceal intent, command attention, wield fear, flatter strategically, control your emotions, navigate egos, provoke weakness, eliminate dependence, and never, ever become predictable. And above all else, stop asking for permission. You don't need to be liked. You need to be unavoidable. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you manipulative, cold, calculated. And in some ways, they'll be right. But what they won't say out loud, what they'll choke on in silence, is that you're finally winning, not by chance, not by luck, but by law. Because once you begin to understand how power truly works, you stop playing fair. You start playing real. Let me tell you something that most people will never admit. The world rewards the appearance of virtue more than virtue itself. Julius Caesar knew this. He wore the robe of Rome's humble servant while he devoured its soul piece by piece. Every move he made, every alliance, every declaration, was a performance. And when the Senate turned on him, they didn't stab a tyrant. They stabbed the man who had made them feel irrelevant. That's what people do when they sense you've outgrown their need to believe in equality. You want to outsmart everyone. Then stop needing their approval. Learn to manipulate perception instead of seeking truth. Harsh, of course, but truth alone doesn't move the masses. Appearances do. In a world run by optics, clarity is a liability. Do you understand now? People don't want to be free. They want to feel safe. They don't want truth. They want stories. And the moment you give them what they crave, while quietly keeping what you need, you become untouchable. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the hidden side of the self that society represses. But here's the part no one wants to hog. Those who master their shadow, who integrate their darkness, gain a strange kind of charisma. Not the fake smile kind, the kind that makes people nervous and fascinated at the same time. Why? Because the person who has faced his inner monster doesn't flinch when yours shows up. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you said no and didn't explain yourself? Exactly. Most people are terrified of offending, of disappointing, of disrupting the fragile illusion of social harmony. But power does not come to those who please. It comes to those who unsettle. Look around. In any room, in any board meeting, classroom, or dinner party, there are always two battles, the one on the surface and the one underneath. The second is where the real game is played. It's the silent war of posture, presence, of who interrupts whom, who yields first, who stands without fidgeting. And if you think this is just body language trivia, you've already lost. Do you think Napoleon's enemies feared his military plans more than his presence? No, they feared his will, the unshakable sense that he believed he was destined to rule. That kind of conviction can't be faked for long, but it can be built through pain, through clarity, through law. Musashi, the samurai who never lost a duel, said, "You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." What he didn't say out loud, but lived every day, is this: the path is not found, it is carved. And often it is carved with silence, discipline, and strategic indifference. Indifference is one of the great hidden weapons. You don't chase, you don't explain, you don't react. You make others wonder. You let your absence speak more than your presence. This terrifies people because they're used to needing constant validation. Your refusal to engage, it becomes magnetic. Now, here's a truth that might sting: kindness is overrated. No, that doesn't mean be cruel. But if you make kindness your default operating mode, you become predictable, you become soft. Worse, you become manipulable. People will take your generosity and test it. They'll test how much of yourself you're willing to give before you say enough. You want to play on a higher level. Then you must learn the difference between being respected and being liked. Because most people would rather be liked. It's safer, it's warmer, it's easier, but it's also weaker. Respect is colder, but it's the currency of power. Think of Kissinger, arguably one of the most Machiavellian minds of the 20th century. Do you think people liked him? Hardly. But they feared crossing him. They knew he played 10 moves ahead. That's what matters. You don't need their affection, you need their calculation. Now let's talk about attention. Everyone wants it, right? In this age, attention is the new oil. But here's the secreting: if you chase it directly, you become a clown, the jester of the digital court. Instead, you must control attention by withholding parts of yourself. Mystery breeds interest. Predictability breeds contempt. This applies to everything: your work, your relationships, even your words. Never give away your full position. People should be unsure of what you think. That uncertainty, it keeps them engaged, keeps them calculating. Modern analogy. Think of the corporate world. The employee who overshares his ambitions will be quietly sidelined. But the one who plays the fool, who listens more than he speaks, who studies the room before making his move, he becomes the one no one saw coming. And when he rises, they all act surprised. But he was watching the whole time. In every hierarchy, the loudest are rarely the most dangerous. The most dangerous are the ones who are learning while everyone else is performing. Law of power: never outshine your master. Obvious, right? But most people still break it. Why? Ego, insecurity, a desperate need to prove themselves. Let me tell you something brutal but true. If someone above you feels threatened by your brilliance, they will destroy you. Not always with malice, often with a smile. They'll undermine you subtly, because you reminded them they're aging or replaceable. If you're smart, you let them feel superior. You stroke their ego, and you rise slowly, invisibly. That's not manipulation, that's survival. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But he also understood something darker. That man's desire for meaning can be weaponized. Religion, politics, ideology, all tools in the hands of those who know how to manufacture. Why? For the masses. If you control what people believe their life means, you control how they act. Do you see now why morality, as it's sold to you, is a cage? Because once you believe that being good is more important than being effective, you give away your power to those who know how to fake goodness better than you do. Think back to Caesar, or even today's politicians. They don't need to be good. They need to look good. They need to say the right things while signing the wrong deals. And it works because most people are too naive to tell the difference. So how do you outsmart this world? You study people more than you study ideas. You learn the games they're playing, their insecurities, their hidden agendas, their fears. And then you become the mirror they're afraid to look into. When someone expects you to react, don't. When they expect your silence, speak. When they expect weakness, give them something cold and final. Confusion is a form of control. Let me bring it closer to home. You ever notice how in relationships, the one who needs the other less usually holds the power? It's not about love. It's about leverage. The one who walks away tomorrow without a breakdown has the upper hand. And whether it's romantic, professional, or social, the dynamic is always the same. Attachment without boundaries is servitude. You don't have to be cruel. But you must be clear. Your time is limited. Your energy is valuable. Your mind is a weapon. Stop handing it over to people who haven't earned the right to influence it. Here's something Machiavelli would whisper in your ear if he were alive today. Be the lion when needed, but always wear the skin of the fox. In other words, use strength wisely, but always move through life strategically. Know when to strike. Know when to disappear. Know when to smile and say nothing while planning your next 5 moves. We live in an age of exposure. Everyone is screaming for attention, vomiting their opinions, posting their every emotion. That's your opportunity. While they overexpose, you learn invisibility. Let them show their hand. You keep yours close. Let them crave followers. You build influence in silence. And when the time comes, you won't need to announce your arrival. You'll already be in the room. The game doesn't reward the loudest. It rewards the one who learns how to play without being seen. There's a moment in every player's life where the mask begins to itch. You've played the fool long enough, smiled politely, bowed when expected. But beneath it all, there's a growing hunger, a silent scream building inside you, asking, when do I stop pretending and start taking what's mine? The answer is this: when you've learned patience. Because power isn't seized by the impatient, it's seduced. Slowly, strategically, with a calm hand and an unshakable mind. You think Caesar crossed the Rubicon in a moment of impulse. No, that was the culmination of years spent watching Rome rot from within. He studied the Senate, their cowardice, their greed. He didn't need to storm the city. He walked into it. That's the difference between ambition and power. Power doesn't knock. It enters. And here's something no one will tell you. You don't rise by being good at what you do. You rise by making others believe they need you. That's a different game entirely. To outsmart everyone, you must master the art of dependence. Become the source they can't live without. Not just in work, but in presence, in thought, in silence. They should wonder what you're thinking. They should crave your validation. Not because you're loud, but because you're rare. In this world, scarcity is a weapon, and most people give themselves away too cheaply. Their time, their opinions, their energy, thrown at anyone who asks. But if you want power, you must become expensive. Let me say it clearly: silence is power. Kissinger built empires without ever needing to raise his voice. He learned early that the one who speaks least controls the frame. Let the others reveal themselves. Let them argue, posture, react. You sit still, absorb, learn. Every word you speak should be calculated, not out of fear, but because words are bullets. Once fired, you can't take them back, and most people shoot blindly, then wonder why their lives are full of holes. This applies especially in conflict. Musashi, the undefeated swordsman, understood this perfectly. He said the ultimate strategy is not to fight at all, but to win before the sword is drawn. His presence was a warning. His calm was a threat. The very fact that he didn't need to fight made people fear him more. Ask yourself, can you walk into a room and say nothing and still change the mood? That's a test of real power. The weak rely on noise. The strong rely on aura. Now let's talk about something few dare touch: loyalty. Everyone preaches it. Few practice it. Loyalty in most cases is a leash, wrapped around your neck by those who fear your independence. They call it love, friendship, team spirit. But watch closely. The moment you grow, the moment you start playing a bigger game, the same people who cheered for you begin to pull you back. Not because they hate you, because you remind them of what they're not doing. Here's a law: never confuse proximity with alignment. Just because they're near you doesn't mean they're for you. Caesar was surrounded by friends. When the knives came out, Jung was exiled by the very minds he once admired. Even Nietzsche died alone, misunderstood, dismissed, only to be deified a century later by men who couldn't hold a candle to his mind. You will be betrayed. Not maybe, not if, you will. And it will be by someone you once defended. So prepare, not by building walls, but by building detachment. If someone's loyalty is tied to your silence, your smallness, your sacrifice, they are not loyal to you. They are loyal to their comfort. Now, let's address morality. Society sells you this fantasy: if you're honest, kind, and hardworking, everything will work out. Really? Then why do the most cunning rise fastest? Why do liars lead nations? Why do corporations make billions, exploiting the same workers they praise in press releases? Because morality is a tool. A beautiful one, yes, but still a tool. And those who understand this use it selectively. Machiavelli didn't despise morality. He simply refused to be ruled by it. He saw that the man who acts good in an evil system gets eaten, but the man who appears good, while acting strategically, thrives. You don't need to become evil, but you do need to stop being naive. You are not rewarded for being good. You are rewarded for being useful. You are not praised for honesty. You are praised when honesty aligns with someone else's agenda. Harsh, yes, but this is the blood of reality. And if you want to rise above it, you must see it without flinching. Let's shift now to the art of memory. What do people remember? They remember contrast, the unexpected, the one who broke the pattern. You want to be unforgettable. Don't try to be better than everyone. Be different. In a world of speed, move slowly. In a world of noise, become silent. In a world of clowns, become dangerous. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "He who despises himself still respects himself as one who despises." There is power even in contempt, if it is directed. The real danger is indifference, when the world no longer reacts to you. That is death. So your job isn't just to be seen. It's to haunt. To linger in their thoughts long after you've left the room. To say few words, but carry them like a ghost they can't forget. And how do you do this? You study pain, not just your own, but the pain of others. Because pain is the language most people speak fluently, but try to hide. The one who names it, the one who touches it without flinching, becomes a kind of god to them. Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are by integrating your shadow. Most people run from it. They numb it with distraction, dopamine, moral superiority. But the person who embraces it gains something rare: self-possession. You cannot be manipulated once you've owned your darkness, and that terrifies people, because their entire strategy depends on your guilt, your shame, your need for validation. Take those away. You become a threat. No. What's the most dangerous trait in a man? No, it's not aggression, not dominance, it's clarity. The man who knows what he wants and moves toward it without apology becomes unpredictable. And unpredictable people are ungovernable. Your boss can't guilt you. Your partner can't trap you. Your enemies can't bait you, because you are not reacting. You are acting. This is law of react and you are controlled. Act and you control. And here's where most people fail. They confuse movement with power. They hustle. They grind. They stay busy. But they don't advance. Why? Because they lack aim. Musashi said, "Perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye." This means you must move not just with speed, but with sight. Strategy over speed. Propose over performance. It doesn't matter how hard you work if you're working on the wrong thing. It doesn't matter how fast you move if you're running in circles. Outsmarting everyone starts with slowing down enough to see. Now let me leave you with a weapon most ignoring: forgetfulness. The strategic kind. There are things you must forget. Slights, insults, rejections. Not because they didn't matter, but because carrying them weakens you. Resentment makes you predictable. Bitterness makes you sloppy. You want vengeance, fine, but let it be cold, not emotional. Let your success be the blow. Let your silence echo louder than their mockery. Let them choke on the distance between who were and who you've become. Because the truth is this: the game isn't about winning arguments. It's about becoming undeniable. No one can argue with presence, with results, with mastery. And mastery takes time, years, even decades. So ask yourself, do you want applause now, or a throne later? Most choose applause. Be the exception. Be willing to be misunderstood today so you can be untouchable tomorrow. This is where most people stop. They've learned just enough strategy to feel clever, just enough darkness to feel dangerous. They use tactics like toys, impulsively, emotionally. But that's not mastery, that's mimicry if you want to truly outsmart everyone. Not just once, not for a moment, but across a lifetime. You must think in decades, not days. In positioning, not posturing. In legacy, not attention. Because this world forgets quickly. The loudest today are erased tomorrow. Only those who build something deeper, something rooted in truth, not trend, become inevitable. And to do that, you must kill the part of you that still needs to be understood. Understand this cue. You do not owe the world your transparency, your past. That belongs to you. Your pain, keep it sacred. Your plans, let them wander. Because the more they know, the more they can control. Every secret you give away is a weapon they one day use against you. Napoleon didn't reveal his endgame to the public. He let the world speculate. And while they argued over his intentions, he took entire nations. Because here's the log: when they are busy guessing, they are not preparing. Let's talk about the most underestimated force in power: boredom. People fear pain, but they are enslaved by boredom. It is their weakness. They'll betray their values, their health, their loyalties, just to feel something again. A new drama, a new crisis, a new enemy. You must weaponize patience. While they chase stimulation, you build structure. While they fall for the next high, you master discipline. Jung said that modern man is in search of a soul. But most aren't searching. They're escaping from silence, from self-confrontation, from responsibility. So if you can stomach solitude, if you can sit in the fire of your own mind without flinching, you gain something most never will: clarity. And with clarity comes precision. And with precision comes power. You want to control a room. Then enter it with a purpose so sharp that you cut through the noise without raising your voice. You want to win in negotiations. Speak last. Let them tire themselves out. Let them reveal their limits, their greed, their insecurity. Then, when they're empty, you speak, briefly, clearly, with finality. And if you want to build a network of real power, not fossilize, but then learn this: most people are addicted to being seen. You must become addicted to seeing. See their fears before they do. See their strengths before they waste them. See who they really are beneath the performance. And once you see them, let them feel seen. Because when someone feels truly seen by you, they mistake it for love. That's not manipulation. That's understanding. But use it wisely. Because the moment you become the mirror for someone else's unlived life, they will either serve you or try to destroy you. Sometimes both. You think this is harsh? Good. Truth should cut. Because only by bleeding do we realize we're still alive. And the person who's most alive in this world is not the one who smiles the most. It's the one who has faced death, of ego, of comfort, of illusion, and kept moving. Let's speak plainly now. Most people are not evil. They're just weak. They will betray you not out of malice, but out of fear. They will sabotage you not because they want to win, but because your existence exposes their laziness. So stop expecting honor among the average. If you stand for anything, if you build anything, if you are anything, you will be tested. And the first test will always come from within: your own need to be liked, to be understood, to be fair. But fairness is not the same as justice. And justice does not come to the passive. You want justice? Then be willing to fight for it. With your mind, with your posture, with your silence, with your refusal to be guilt-tripped by people who gave up on themselves long ago. Now, let's talk about presence. Not charisma, not charm, but true presence. The kind that shifts a room. The kind that doesn't need to speak to be felt. You build this by walking through fire and not flinching, by being betrayed and not breaking, by suffering deeply and not turning bitter. Every scar you carry becomes part of your aura, but only if you wear it with pride, not pity. The man who hides his wounds is ashamed. The man who shows them too eagerly is desperate, but the man who wears them silently, he becomes untouchable. Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." But most people never even ask who that is. They take on roles. They repeat opinions. They inherit identities from people who never knew themselves. You must unlearn everything you were taught about humility, about sacrifice, about playing small for the sake of others. It was designed to keep you tame. You were not born to be tame. You were born to walk with kings and not tremble, to befriend solitude and not shrink, to lead, not because you're perfect, but because you see more, and seeing more makes you dangerous. Because the world runs on illusions, politics, religion, relationships, all of it built on carefully curated lies that keep the machine running. But once you see behind the curtain, you can never go back. And if you keep your mouth shut, they'll call you wise. If you open it, they'll call you arrogant. Either way, they'll fear you, because you are no longer one of them. So what do? You walk alone, yes, but you walk ahead. You stop trying to prove. You start trying to move, past them, through them. And when they call you ruthless, smile, because they called Caesar the same. They called Machiavelli worse. They called Nietzsche mad. They called Jung a heretic. But look at history. Who remembers the moralists? No one. But we remember the ones who understood how the world really works and moved through it like a blade through silk. So here we are. You've heard all the laws, not the ones written in books, but the ones etched into blood and time. The laws of power, of perception, of precision, of presence. You don't need all of them today, but you need one. Just one, applied ruthlessly, can change your entire life. Because this world does not reward potential. It rewards those who act. And action begins not with noise, but with a decision. That you will no longer be predictable. That you will no longer be passive. That you will no longer make yourself small for the comfort of others. You want to outsmart everyone? Then stop playing their game. Play your own. And make sure it's the kind they can't even see until it's too late.